I'm so Ivey. I'm with Ilegal Mezcal. Waving enthusiastically. I'm going to talk to you guys a bit about investor relations, essentially. And I have worked in investor relations for many, many years and not particularly tied to the liquor industry. I've worked in all kinds of hospitality investments, hotels, restaurants, lots of things. So I'm hoping that I'm going to leave you guys with some practical information that you can take away, whether it's for your brand or your company, maybe your hat company you're starting, whatever it is. Because investors are looking for all kinds of things, right? Not just brands of booze. So in order to have a partnership, you've got to look for one first, right? Look for the partnership, make the partnership, and then grow the partnership. And those are the three pieces I'm going to cover for you guys today. So when you're looking for a partnership, you have to know what you're looking for, right? Like, what are you looking for and what are they looking for? So you're searching for an investment partner. It's pretty important to know what level of investment are we talking about here, because that's also going to tell you a lot about what someone's looking for. And I don't know anybody's background here with regards to investments or what you guys understand. So I laid out here for you, essentially, investments come from these places: friends and family, which is usually when you're getting off the ground, right? Your pocket money, your mom's pocket money, whatever money that happens to be. Angel, and they're going to have different expectations, right? So really, they're doing it for you, probably. They're giving you the money for you because they believe in you. Your angel investors, this is the people who come in a very, 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 very early stage, and they take high risks, right? So when an investor comes in and takes a high risk, they're really looking for a high return. That's essentially what they're looking to get out of the partnership. Venture capital and strategic partners, I think a lot of people don't distinguish between those, but in our particular industry, the strategic partner is going to be your Diageo, your Bacardi, right? Your big house. Right? We all know who those are. That's generally the strategic partners you're looking at. Venture capital can come from other places, and they have a lot of other requirements they're going to be looking for. So your venture capital is a later stage investment. So you're going to be a little bit down the road when you're looking for money, maybe at a certain case level, whatever that is. And they're going to have particular things they're looking for, depending on the company. But usually you're talking about somebody who's looking at a minimum 2 to 3 times return on their funds. So when you're choosing your partner, which is active, right? Like, I think a lot of us feel when you're out there looking for money, you're just taking whatever is brought to you. This is an active due diligence goes both ways situation, right? Like, you need to choose your partner, not just take what you find. So some of these things were talked about here. So due diligence goes both ways. And the one I put up there first is values, right? If you don't want to bring a partner into your relationship that doesn't have a similar value system to you, I don't care if you're looking for a life partner, a business partner, whatever you're looking for. So in order to understand this, you have to know what your own values are. So you figure out your values, and then you want to make sure you are doing the diligence to understand any investment partner you're looking for, what their value system is. A lot of you are familiar with our brands, and maybe I think you're familiar with our brand, Ilegal Mezcal. We take a lot of risks. We do a lot of political campaigns. We have some interesting anti-Donald work that we do. So, and in order to do that, we have to be very clear that we're bringing in partners that understand our value system and understand. I don't know if any of you were in the room yesterday when John Rexer was talking about doing good and what our beliefs are as a brand, and that you should exemplify and defend those. And so you want to make sure that you're bringing in a partner that's not going to hinder you from doing that. You want to know what they're going to bring to the table, what kind of track record do they have, those kind of go together, right? So are you talking about an angel investor who has success in putting lots of cash into small companies and helping them grow? Are you looking at a Bacardi, like we partnered with? They're a minority investor in Ilegal. That's known by most of you guys. What were they bringing to the table? We talked about distribution. We had the ability to go into a dedicated division within Southern Glazers Wine and Spirits. That's invaluable, right? So you want to know what they have to offer you. What are their timelines and goals? When somebody makes an investment, it's usually understood there's going to be an exit at some point in time, right? So what are they looking for? Your venture capital firm might have a 5-year timeline. Your angel investor could have a 20-year timeline. They could have long, long timelines. You don't know. But you have to have the conversations. So You also want to understand if they have conflicting investments, because that's going to tell you a lot about priorities. Like, how are you guys going to arrange this? We're a mezcal company. Are we going to take in a partner that's already invested in 10 other mezcal companies? Does that make sense? It could make sense, or it could be a conflict. You just have to think about those things. Same with deal structure and founder protection. I put founder protection on here because I think this is an important piece of due diligence that's not discussed enough in investments. Whether you're a new brand, whether you're a hotel, whatever you are, whoever was the origin of that company, of that brand, of that product, who had the passion and the faith and the belief in it that created it and grew it, you need to make sure you're not partnering with anyone who's going to undermine that person. And you want to actually partner with somebody who believes that that person should be taken care of. What happens often when you're looking at your deal structures is your founder created that out of nothing, right? They have every penny they've ever made or they put into their brand. So
and more.
So then as you bring money into a company, what happens is that individual's ownership can get diluted. But there's ways that you can talk about and address making sure that doesn't happen. And these are just some keys of information that you want to have and talk to when you're choosing your partner. And the same with board structure. You don't want to be looking at different types of power struggles down the road. This is dry stuff we're talking about, but it's so important. And I just want to make sure it's out there and people know that this should be talked about when you're creating a partnership with investors. And if you get any pushback on having these conversations, they're not the right person or they're not the right company. Like, move on. And that's hard to do sometimes when you're negative on the bank account. It's important. So you make a relationship, right? You make a partnership, you take in money, you take in capital from whoever that is. You have to maintain, build, and maximize the relationship, right? It's ongoing. It's a daily thing. You can't forget about your investors and just go run your business. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. You have to have good communication and transparency. I talk about this in that it's very important that no one should ever be surprised by something, right? Nobody wants to talk about bad things. Nobody wants to talk about sales that took a hit or numbers you didn't make, but they should never be a surprise. Because if you're constantly communicating, which I have down a little bit about dialogue, this is just frequent conversation. How's business doing? What is the health of business? What do you need from your partner? What should they be doing for you to help you build? Education is high on this list because our industry is difficult. It's complicated. Like, especially if you're just operating in the United States and you're in the 3-tier system and you bring in a venture capital group with money, do you think they know how control states work? Why are your margins different there? What's happening? What's going on? It's really worth your time, even though you think it's taking off the number one thing, which is you driving sales, to educate your partners to what your business is. It's super important. Keep them engaged, keep the dialogue happening. And then I have reassess. So when you're building a small brand, things change real fast. So when you're looking at the way some of the big companies set plans, like a Bacardi or a Diageo, and they're doing 2020 planning in 2018 because they know they're going to grow 3% and they're going to do this and they're going to do that. And you're like going day to day, right? So you have to bring your investment partners and your board members into the conversation to understand, yes, we set the budget, but at a minimum on a monthly level, you should be reassessing all of those things. Where are you going? Has the trend changed? What happened? And as long as you're having that dialogue and the constant reassessment, and there's no surprises on the table, and you've chosen the right partner, that should all go really well. But that's a lot of things to have go right. So then lastly up there is exit plans. That's going to tie a lot back to the original conversation you should have had, which what are the timelines and goals? What are your partner's timelines and goals? If you talk about that conversation with big one, not down the road. So you talk about it right away. Talk about before you have the partnership. Talk about it before you take in the money. Where are we going to go? When we're reassessing and talking through our plans, we should have already established funding mechanisms. You're going to need more money right down the road. How's that going to work? Is your founder going to get diluted? These are all the conversations that you would have from the day one that you met this person. If that's happened, then you're already going to be set up for your exit plans. You're going to know where you're going. You mean your exit plan for a liquor brand? And not necessarily for everybody. Maybe some people are growing a brand because they want to keep that brand forever and have it be their business for the rest of their life. But more commonly, you're going to find people who are growing a brand to sell. And if that was your plan, it should have also been discussed all the way back at the beginning with your partner. So, I mean, this is what I have to present to you guys about investor relations, investor partnerships. I mean, it sums up the way any relationship sums up. It's communication. Communication, 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 and transparency. Make sure you're honest about your needs. Make sure they are educated enough to understand what it is that you're presenting to them so you can continue to have the real conversations, the ongoing dialogue over and over and over and over again.